boys and girls. Today what's going to happen is we are going to take our foam and we are going to start cutting it apart, and we are going to start forming it into good forms. The first thing we'll need is our piece of foam with our plan so that we know what our bird is going to look like. And then what we're going to do is we are going to be needing tools like a saw, a file, and some sandpaper to work on our forms. I'm going to take my saw and I'm going to cut it on an angle to cut apart the first piece. I'm going to turn it this way. Sometimes it's easier to saw while you're standing. And this piece will go onto my form as piece 1, so it's down on the feet area. The next form gets cut on a little bit of an angle, and this is piece 3. The next piece that I'm going to cut cuts again on an angle. And if my saw can't fit all the way through, I'm going to carefully snap the piece apart. And piece 4 goes on in the back as a tail. And piece 5 will come up on top as a head. Actually, I think I've got it backwards. I'm going to put piece 2 up on the head and piece 3 as the body. That's a nice thing to know, that you can switch your pieces around if you have to. Now, I need to create 2 feet out of this piece. So what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to take this piece and I'm going to cut it in half the other direction. Instead of cutting it so they're big, tall feet, I'm going to make them so they're thin feet. You can also do this with the wings if you decide to make wings. I decided to make a tail with mine on this one, and so that's what my 4th piece is going to be used for, and these are going to be set as my feet. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start using my file to make these pieces rounded. You can see that this has a 90-degree angle and it works like a clip. When I take it and file the edges, I can actually make it look like a smooth belly. And that's what it looks like when it's rounded. Notice the pieces of styrofoam that are loose. Please make sure they stay on the newspaper, and that's why the newspaper is on the table, because we don't want a ton of styrofoam everywhere in the classroom. Seal tape, and you'll work your pieces so each one of them is neatly filed and it has good form to it. I'm going to also work on filing the feet, and when I file the feet, I may want to consider adding some toes. I can use some sandpaper and sand it in, and I can use my files and round the edges, and I want to keep it flat on the bottom so that I'm able to glue it down onto a piece of cardboard, but the form on the top, on the surface, I want it rounded and I want to actually add some details to it. So I feel that a bird should have a little more of a pointy toe to it. So I'm going to take my sandpaper and work on this. So your job today is to have your pieces all working in good form. And then once you have your form, then you're able to take these pieces and put them together and create your structure. Next time, we'll be seeing how to glue and pierce our pieces together.